Hello, before we begin, remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share this video with all your friends. I'd also like to note that this is for fun and I also am not Christian, so that Santa thing, it's just kind of, I don't know as much as a Christian might. So if some of the stuff I'm saying sounds a little off, just give me the benefit of the doubt, okay? Good evening and welcome to another election night in America, election night 2020, versus President Donald Trump seeking for a second term, and Santa Claus, who gives people presents. Now, in the average approval ratings, Santa is approved by 87%. Those are historic numbers. He's only disapproved 10% and 3% are undecided. Whereas with Trump, only 1% are undecided, and Trump is only approved at this point by 34% and 65% disapprove. I think those are very big. They're not unheard of, but at the same time, they're very not average numbers for an incoming president. So anyway, we have our 7 p.m. on the East poll closings from the states of Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, Kentucky, and Indiana. So in Indiana, Santa will go on to win their 11 electoral votes. And Kentucky, Santa will go on to win Kentucky's 8. Donald Trump will win Kentucky's 8 electoral votes, and in the state of Vermont, 3 electoral votes going to Santa tonight, and in Virginia, very early call this time, 13 electoral votes landing in Santa's column, and it is too early to call in Georgia. We can note a big lead for Santa Claus. As you can see, the too early to call is highlighted in blue. If it was a Trump lead, it will be highlighted in red. And in South Carolina, it's too close to call. We can note a small lead for Santa Claus, though. And with our 7:30 p.m. on the East and 4:30 on the West poll closings from the states of Ohio, West Virginia, and North Carolina. 2 of those being swing states, of course. And Ohio's 17 electoral votes, though, are going to Santa Claus, he being a very approved of candidate. As you can see by the numbers, he's extremely approved of. So that's kind of why. But in West Virginia, 4 electoral votes going to Donald J. Trump. And in North Carolina, it's too early to call, but we can note a big lead of almost 10% for Santa Claus. And we have our 8 p.m. on the East, 5 on the West, poll closings from the states of Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, D.C., Pennsylvania, Michigan, Illinois, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and the state of Texas. A big one. And in Maryland, we can project their 10 electoral votes, my personal home state, 10 electoral votes going in the Santa's column. And in Delaware, their 3 electoral votes will go to Santa Claus on this November evening. And in New Jersey, the state of New Jersey goes to Santa Claus, no surprise there, and in Connecticut, their 7 electoral votes are being awarded to Santa Claus on this November night, and in Massachusetts, used to be thought of as the most liberal state in the country, 11 electoral votes landing in the Santa column tonight, and in Rhode Island, their 3 electoral votes are going to Santa Claus. We note that it has lost an electoral vote in the 2020 census, now down to 3 votes. Now the state with the biggest landmass and the smallest landmass are tied in electoral votes. In the state of New Hampshire, though, my former swing state, not so much this time, their 4 electoral votes are going to Santa Claus. And in Maine, all 4 of their electoral votes are going to Santa Claus. Very early call, as we've seen in it's usually all called together, but in 2016, Maine's 2nd district swung really like more double digits to Donald Trump, but this time their 2nd district swings back and goes to Santa Claus. And in D.C., Santa Claus will easily sweep their 3 electoral votes. In Pennsylvania, we note it has lost an electoral vote in the 2020 census, but Pennsylvania's 19 electoral votes, usually thought of as a swing state, going to Santa Claus. And in Michigan, we know it has also lost an electoral vote, but their 15 electoral votes will land in the Santa column tonight. And Illinois, same deal like the last 2, 19 electoral votes going in the Santa column. But in Tennessee, their 11 electoral votes will land in the Santa column again. And in Missouri, their 10 electoral votes will land in the Santa column. In Mississippi, their 6 electoral votes will land in the Santa column on this November evening. And in Alabama, it is too early to call. We note this medium-sized lead, about 4.3% actually. Right now I've got the figures. It's a 4.1% lead for Donald Trump. And in Oklahoma, though, a Trump victory. Their 7 electoral votes from Oklahoma will go to Donald Trump. And we have our 8:30 p.m. poll closings from the state of Arkansas. In Arkansas, their 6 electoral votes will be awarded to Santa Claus tonight. And in North Carolina, we can finally make a call from North Carolina. North Carolina's 16 electoral votes are going to Santa Claus. And in South Carolina, their 9 electoral votes are going to Santa Claus after visiting the state vigorously, not knowing if he'd have it so well, but it ends up being more than a 5-point margin for him. Usually thought of as a Republican state, not this time though. And in Georgia, was thought to be Republican state, but no, it swung to the Democrats, and Santa wins the state of Georgia. And in Florida, it is too early to call. We note a medium-sized lead of 5.6 for the Democrats there, though. And we have our 9 p.m. poll closings from the states of New York, Louisiana, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, both of the Dakotas, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, and the state of Nebraska, which, by the way, splits their votes into congressional districts. So in the state of New York, easily Santa Claus wins their 27 electoral votes. It's the only state that lost more than 1 electoral vote. And in New Mexico, Santa will win their electoral votes. And in North Dakota, Santa Claus will sweep their 3 electoral votes, a very northern state, and same deal with South Dakota. Both of those states are usually conservative, but not this time, because they're cold and they can really relate to Santa, because snow and, the whole thing. And the state of Colorado, that first 9 electoral votes were from the state of Minnesota. This 10 electoral votes from the state of Colorado going to Santa Claus. And in Texas, a big call, usually thought of to be as the Republican equivalent to California for the Democrats. It's been swinging in recent years more blue, but this time Santa Claus picks up the state by very narrow margins. In Minnesota, we had a mix-up call. Minnesota's 9 electoral votes, though, lost an electoral vote. Their 9 electoral votes are going to Santa Claus. And in Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes are going to Santa Claus. In Arizona, they gained an electoral vote in the 2020 census, and they had the fastest growing county in the whole country, Maricopa County, which contains Phoenix, and thought of to be by many one of the warmest cities in America. 12 electoral votes going to Santa Claus tonight. And in the state of Kansas, their 6 electoral votes will go to Santa Claus on this November night. And in Nebraska, all 5 of their electoral votes are going to Santa Claus, easily winning them. And Santa Claus will win the state of Florida with their 31 electoral votes. A lot of electoral weight it gained. 2 electoral votes in the 2020 census. It holds even more electoral weight, and that state, the swing state of Florida, goes to Santa Claus. And we can now make a major projection that Santa Claus will become the 46th president of the United States. He will go on to win enough states. With that recent call from Florida and Texas, those 2 big states will put him over the top. And now we have our 10 p.m. poll closings from the states of Nevada, Utah, Iowa, and the state of Montana. In Nevada, their 6 electoral votes will go to Santa Claus on this November night. And in the state of Montana gained an electoral vote. It splits them up into 2 congressional districts and an at-large vote, like the same exact thing that Maine does. Usually thought of to be like as a safe at-large, and their 1st congressional district for the Republicans, and their 2nd congressional district's good swingy, like Nebraska's 2nd district, and but this time Santa Claus just seems to be winning everything. So he wins Montana, all of their electoral votes. And in the state of Iowa, former swing state, moving right in recent years, but it goes to Santa Claus. But in the state of Utah, with the big Mormon population in Utah, Donald Trump will go on to win their 6 electoral votes. And in the state of Alabama, Donald Trump will win their 8 electoral votes. As we note, Alabama has lost 1 electoral vote in the 2020 census. And Donald Trump will go on to win Alabama's 8 electoral votes. And in Louisiana, Donald Trump will pick up their 8 electoral votes, a state that has been losing population in recent years. And, but anyway, Donald Trump will win the state of Louisiana. And in Wyoming's 3 electoral votes will go to Santa Claus on this November night. And we are now up for the 11 p.m. poll closings from the states of Washington, Oregon, California, Idaho, and Hawaii, and Alaska. So anyway, 55 electoral votes from California, the biggest prize in the United States. Safe Democrat, though, 55 electoral votes are poised to go to Santa Claus and Alaska. Usually Republican, but since it's so close to the North Pole and they can relate so much to Santa, it swung by more than 50 points. It is the bluest state in the whole map this time. 3 electoral votes going to Santa Claus. And in the state of Oregon, Oregon's 8 electoral votes, it gained an electoral vote in the 2020 census. With Montana, it is the only 2 states that are not in the Sun Belt to gain electoral votes. And its 8 electoral votes will go to Santa Claus tonight. And in Washington, their 12 electoral votes will go to Santa Claus tonight. And in Hawaii, easily picking up the state of Hawaii, 4 electoral votes going to Santa Claus. And that is our election night in America. Santa Claus easily wins the election, not even having to go tough at all. Now, hello, please remember to hit that like button, subscribe, click that notification bell, and share this video with all your friends. What is happening to me, guys? I have no idea what's happening to me. Okay, bye.